Hi, welcome to Money Made Easy. My name is Dan Danford and we do this podcast for DadsDivorce.com. One of the questions that I see all the time deals with retirement planning. It seems like most people get to be about 45 or 50 years old and all of a sudden they realize, oh my gosh, I need to start preparing for retirement. And then the question becomes, what do you do to accomplish that? Really a couple of things that you can do. One is no matter where you are in your retirement savings, you need to beef up the savings. Truth of the matter is, if most of us had started saving the way we should have back when we were 20 or 25 years old, then by the time we get to 45 or 50, it wouldn't be an issue because we'd already have a big enough chunk of capital working there that it would continue to grow until our retirement, and it probably wouldn't require a lot of extra effort. But that's not the cycle we all live in. Most of us know that when we're young, as much as we might like to start saving, that's also the time when we have families, when we have the expenses of building a household and all the things that go along with it. So most of us, unfortunately, become kind of late starters. So the first rule that most planners use is we suggest that you start using company plans first. Wherever you work, they probably have a 401k plan and you're probably allowed to defer money into that plan. Now that's a great thing for you because when you do that, not only does it reduce your taxable income, but that money then starts to work in that plan and it starts compounding on a tax-free basis until you actually need it. And truthfully, that tax-free growth is it's almost magic. If you think about it, if you took money and put it in the bank in a CD, and let's pretend for a second CD rates are much higher than they are today. Let's say it was 5% a year. Well, by the time you pay taxes on that 5%, you're only left with 3.5% or 4% compounding annually. But in a retirement plan, you put the money in there, and when it grows by 5% or 6% or 7%, there's no tax cut coming out of it every year. So it compounds much quicker. So say, for instance, you're 45, you're going to retire at 65, you have 20 years of that compounding growth, and it really does add up quickly. Of course, that's also why it would have been so much more if you'd started at 25, is because you'd had 40 years of compound growth. But whatever, the first issue is if you aren't already saving or you are already saving, beef that up. Put as much money away as you can because it really does add up and it really does make a difference. Now, if you're already maximizing your deferral into plans like that, then you probably need to start setting up some money on the side as well. Now, money that isn't in a retirement plan is good for a couple of reasons. One reason is because it gives you much more flexibility. In a retirement plan, you can only withdraw money under certain circumstances, and really you don't want to withdraw money anyway because it's growing towards retirement. But if you have an emergency or something comes up and you have another investment account, then you don't have to face those same issues. You can get into the money if you need to. But we're going to hope that you don't need to, and we're going to hope that you can start investing some money in addition to what you're putting in your retirement plans. Again, your time horizon's long, 15 to 20 years. I'd use growth investments so that it'll accumulate as quickly as you can. I'd also hold apart some that can be used for emergencies in case you need to. And I guess this all brings up what I think is probably a pretty important point. And you're going to maybe shake your heads and say, well, of course he's going to say that, but I'm going to say it despite what the journalists and everybody else tell you. And that is, most of us probably need some professional help here. Now I know there are a lot of different advisors out there and a lot of different fee schemes, and some of them are selling you products, and I get all of that. But the value that a professional advisor brings to you is that they're more objective about your situation and they've seen it all before. Now, I run into some very talented, very smart people who do their own investing, and I wouldn't ever take anything away from what they do. But what I will say is they typically only know about their own situation over a certain time period. So maybe they've done really, really well over the last 15 years or whatever. But they only really know the investments that they've held and how those investments have worked over that particular time period. The value that a professional advisor brings is they can look at that situation and they can say, okay, well, this is likely to be what works in the future. Let's make an adjustment here, or let's make an adjustment there based on the fact that I've worked with hundreds of families, and these are the things that I've seen in the past that work. No matter how well read you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter how much time you devote to this, that's something that you'll never have, is that perspective that comes from hundreds of people. Now, I don't think that expertise is worth any price. I mean, I think you ought to find somebody who's value-oriented, who doesn't charge you an arm and a leg for those services. But I genuinely think that in most circumstances, having a professional will help you accomplish your objectives, especially if you're trying to accumulate for retirement and you're getting kind of a late start. So that's my bottom line here is never too late to get started for retirement. Use the company plans first and use that tax-free compounding. And then also set up investments on the side and be funneling as much money as you can into them as well. If you just follow those simple couple of rules, you'll be able to accomplish what you need to by the time you get ready to retire. That's our goal, and that's our goal for you. Hey, we'll see you next week. Money Made Easy at DadsDivorce.com.